All right, welcome back to another explainer. Today, we're diving into a really wild paradox right here in the US. Look, we all know the American dream is basically built on the idea of hard work, right? But today, we're going to look way past the usual surface level financial advice. We need to explore those hidden psychological and systemic barriers that keep so many of us from actually achieving true financial freedom. We're going to break down the whole architecture of modern wealth, cut through all the noise, and get right down to the core of real financial intelligence. And that brings us to what is probably the defining question of our modern reality. If Americans are working harder than ever, why do so few actually hold wealth? We literally live in a hustle culture. People are grinding, putting in crazy hours, driving for Uber on the weekends, just constantly chasing that next promotion. But here's the kicker. Studies actually show that nearly half of Americans pulling in over 100 grand a year are still living paycheck to paycheck. No way, right? But it's true. It's this incredibly stressful emotional reality for millions of people. They're playing by all the rules, running as fast as they can on the treadmill, but they just aren't getting anywhere. So why is that? What's the invisible force that's keeping us from the wealth we're working so hard for? Section 1. The modern wealth illusion. Let's separate the perception from the reality. You know, society, and man, especially social media, has completely programmed us to chase this idea of looking rich. It's the neighbor with the least luxury SUV, the massive mortgage, the constant stream of Amazon boxes on the porch. But honestly, that outward display, it usually masks a deeply fragile reality built on a mountain of consumer debt. True wealth, on the flip side, is almost completely invisible. It's the guy driving a 10-year-old Honda who quietly sits on a massive diversified investment portfolio. Wealth isn't about what you can show off to your neighbors, it's about hidden assets. And more than anything else, it's about freedom. Wealth is the absolute ability to wake up in the morning and just own your time. The tragic flaw for so many Americans is that we burn through all of our cash trying to look rich, which leaves us with literally nothing left to actually be wealthy. Moving on to Section 2, consumerism and debt traps, the systemic cycle. All right, so this brings us to lifestyle inflation. This is the silent wealth killer. It is an incredibly sneaky psychological trap that catches, well, almost all of us without us even noticing. Think about it. As your income rises, maybe you finally land that big promotion, right? Society instantly tells you that you deserve a lifestyle upgrade. So what do? We bump up our spending to perfectly match or sometimes even wildly exceed that new paycheck. And by doing this, we are actively destroying our ability to build true wealth. Sure, your income went up, but your actual wealth, it stayed at absolute zero. It turns into this highly predictable and frankly dangerous cycle. Let's break it down. Step 1, you earn a higher salary, you're feeling good, feeling successful. Step 2, lifestyle creep sneaks right in. Suddenly that older apartment feels a bit cramped, or you convince yourself you absolutely need a brand new car to, reflect your new status. Step 3, to keep up this new super expensive baseline, consumer debt starts creeping up. You swipe the credit card just a little bit more each month. And finally, step 4, you remain completely trapped, living paycheck to paycheck. Only now the irony is you're broke at a much higher income bracket. It's wild. It is incredibly frustrating to make, say, 150 grand a year, but still be sweating over a $500 car repair. Which leads us to Section 3, the financial education gap. What schools missed. It really makes you stop and wonder, why is this so devastatingly common here in the US? Well, it honestly comes down to a foundational flaw in how we're raised. Look, traditional education is fantastic at one specific thing, teaching us how to be good employees. It teaches us to be on time, follow the rules, and specialize in a task so we can earn a paycheck. We spend years memorizing biology and complex calculus, but we rarely, if ever, learn the actual intelligence of wealth. Nobody pulls us aside in high school to explain asset allocation or how a 401k actually works or the deep psychology behind money. Because of this massive gap in the American school system, modern financial intelligence is something we absolutely have to teach ourselves. It's totally on us to go out and get it. All right, Section 4, income versus real wealth. The shift in mindset. Here is the stark reality we all have to face in the modern corporate world. A high income, it's actually fundamentally fragile. It is entirely dependent on your daily ongoing labor. If you stop working, if you get sick, or, and we see this all the time, if your company suddenly does a round of layoffs, boom, that high income goes to zero. Instantly. It's like walking a tightrope without a safety net. But on the other side, we have high net worth. Now, this is robust. It's built on assets that exist completely independently of your daily grind. We're talking assets that appreciate while you're literally sleeping, assets that pay you dividends. The biggest, most profound realization you can have in your financial journey is shifting your obsession away from how much income you make to how much net worth you're actively building. Because income is just what you use to survive. Net worth, that's what you use to buy back your freedom. When we really look at the psychology behind this, the difference is just night and day. A traditional mindset is laser-focused on earning more income. Getting that next raise is the whole goal. But a wealth mindset? It's entirely focused on acquiring assets. And just look at those ingrained spending habits. The traditional mindset takes hard-earned cash and blows it on liabilities, things that literally lose value the second you drive them off the lot, and then cost you even more money just to maintain. The wealth mindset, though, buys investments. They buy things that will eventually turn right around and pay them. It's a completely flipped way of looking at your money. Section 5. Investing in the AI era, the future of wealth creation. Now, here is the absolute vital warning for this decade. The AI economy is coming, it's coming fast, and it is going to aggressively widen the gap between consumers and owners. Think about it. Artificial intelligence is this massive multiplier of efficiency and capital. If you are strictly a consumer, these algorithms are just going to get phenomenally good at extracting your dollars. Hyper-targeted ads, perfectly frictionless buying experiences, they will get your money. But if you are an owner, if you hold equities, businesses, real estate, AI becomes this incredibly powerful engine that drives the fundamental value of your portfolio straight up. The middle ground, yeah, that's rapidly disappearing. So the big question, how do we actually adapt to this? Well, first off, we have to aggressively shift to an ownership mindset. We can't just be players in the economy anymore. We have to own a piece of the board. Second, leverage modern investing. The tools to build wealth, whether it's low-cost index funds or fractional real estate, are literally sitting right there on your smartphone. It's more accessible now than at any point in human history. Seriously, use them. And third, relentlessly prioritize your financial intelligence over consumerism, because every single dollar you spend trying to look rich is a dollar permanently stolen from your future freedom. At the end of the day, it ultimately comes down to this. The difference between the paycheck trap and true freedom is the decision to become an owner. That's it right there. It is a deliberate, conscious choice to step off that treadmill of lifestyle inflation, utterly reject the whole fake illusion of looking rich, and just do the quiet, totally unglamorous work of actually getting wealthy. So, I want to leave you with this final thought. In this fast-approaching AI economy, are you going to remain a consumer, just fueling a system that keeps you endlessly running on that paycheck treadmill? Or are you going to do the hard, necessary work to build the financial intelligence it takes to finally become an owner? The path to true wealth isn't some big secret. Just keep diving deep, keep questioning the narrative we're all fed, and keep building your intelligence. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.